My name is Elena. I'm a project coordinator from the IT company GoEasy that has developed and technically supports the VBF grant management system. I will present you the Grantee portal. First of all, I want to stress that the credentials that you will need for logging to the system are the same that you have used for the applicant portal. For creating the application and submitting. So it's the same username and the same password that you will be using to log into the Grantee portal. Also, the application form, as you have presented to VBF, is already uploaded into the system. And as stressed, the first thing that you will need is to create a version for the budget and for the activities based on the final approval from VBF. So first of all, we log into the system. Oh, sorry. And we see the dashboard where all main information regarding our project are presented. The interface is very user-friendly, and I'm sure then since the first day of use, you will be very adapted to the system and it will be very easy for you to manage your projects and finally present the reports through the VBF Grantee portal. The interface is divided in the main section where the main menus are: project, activities, tasks, budget, expenses, documents, and reports, divided in financial reports and narrative reports. Also, there is the user section where my profile is presented, organization, user, and user roles. So already in the system, the main user, let's call it like admin for your organization and project, is the one that has been also the login user for the applicant portal is present here. So this is me. So if you need to add a new user, you just click here on the add new user and you write information like name, email, password, and so on. Also, you can assign user roles to each user, meaning that you can provide access to specific menus and functionalities of the system depending on the role. For example, project manager or project coordinator can have access to all the menus and all the functionalities. If someone is your collaborator, then it can have access only to view project activities, but can have access to add documents and edit on documents and so on. So you are the one that is responsible for providing user roles and access credentials to each of the users present in your organization and for a project. Then we go to the menu projects where your project is already available. You click here on info, where all the information regarding your project are already uploaded in the system, and you need to assign users that will have access specifically to this project. So you go here to user access. In the drop-down menu will be present all the users that you have added here in users, and all the user roles that you have added also here in user roles. So you select the user, you select the role, and then you click assign. And then the user permission section is filled in with the user that will have right to access to this project. Also, you can add the project team because maybe some persons are added here in users, but they're not part of the project team. So you can add here all your project with the relevant data. Then we go to activities, where initially are present the list of activities from the application. So you need to create a new activity version. You see here in this version of activity timeline, there is no option to edit anything, there's no option to delete anything. So this is the frozen in some way version of the activities. So in order for you to create the new activity version in the new activity timeline as it is finally approved by VBF, you click here on new activity version. So you write revised activities 1 and you click save. So now we have two versions. We have the approved version that is still unchangeable, and we have the reverse version that has an editing option, so we can delete activities. and we can add activities or edit activities. In order to add activity, you just click here, write activity name, activity description, expected results, location, status of the activity, ongoing, non-started, finished for later use, and then you select the activity leader, participants in your activity, and then who is the coordinator. So the persons that you have added to this project in the project info, they are shown here, and you can select who is the coordinator. We close this, and for example, if you want to edit some of the activities, you click here on the pencil, you write something, location, activity status, not started, so you can change it in ongoing, activity leader, who is participant. You can, for example, change the coordinator, and you can also change the period for activity implementation. Let's make it to be finished till end of July. So we click save, and this activity is changed, when you finish this, for example, if you think that, for example, this workshop is not reliable, or you don't have enough budget for this, then you just click here and it is delayed. So when you finish adding the finally approved activity list and timeline into the system, then you click here, send for approval, and you can write a note. Please check and approve, or other notes that you want to add to VBF. So you click on send, and we see that this revised activity version is again becoming frozen, meaning that you cannot make any changes on it, and you're waiting for the pending approval by VBF. Email is sent to VBF. They are controlling your activities version. They see your note, and then when everything is approved, you see this orange waiting for approval to become approved activity version. So now you can start implementing your project and have a final version of the activities. The menu tasks is not obligatory to be used. It's for internal use. It's very similar to Google Calendar, where by clicking on any place here, you can write the task name, select the project, activity that is related to, who is assigned to, so you fill in all the data, and you save into the system. We are going to open one already filled in activity. So this is the signed contract with the trainee. What is the project activity? What is the priority? Who is involved, and when to send a reminder for this specific task. You can also create a communication internally regarding this task. So you click here, and we see that please be on time. There is a message, and some other person that this task is shared with you leaves you a message also. So the whole communication is done here. Then we go to the budget section, where initially you have the budget from your application form, and you need to create a new budget version. Later, I will show you how to create a new budget version. Now we go to expenses. We select the project, the partner, and we have a list of some of the expenses that have been made during the project implementation. I want to stress, please add all your documentation and expenses timely as they happen. Don't wait last moment, because in that way you will be more adapted to the system. It will become easier, more and more easier to use it each time you log in and add information to your project. So we see the list of the expenses of the cost. We can also make search of some specific costs by selecting some search options. And in order to add a cost, we click here, rewrite the date of the payment when this cost has happened. This is total period, your organization. You select the budget item for which this cost has happened. You write some description, justification, what is the supplier for this? We don't have here the supplier in the drop-down menu. We want to add a new, I don't know, Wizz Air, for example. So we add here the supplier, and it is shown in the drop-down menu. We select it, expenditure amount. I know, let's call it verb of amount. Convert to euro, exchange rate, I don't know how much to put it, 120, and it's automatically calculated. Invoice date, what is the date that you have received the invoice, for example, and bank statement number, and bank statement date. We select the date when the bank statement. So we click here, add, and the cost has been added to the system. Also, I have forgotten to tell you here, added to the system. And we see here that next to the cost entry, there are like red and green icons. This means that as you add cost to the system, automatically you can link documents that are proof for the costs made, meaning that you don't have to send the documents separately to email or upload it to some cloud system. Everything is uploaded here into the VBF Grantee portal. The green icon means that you have already uploaded or linked the document with this cost. And the red icon means that you don't have any document linked or uploaded or associated with this cost. The number of documents that you can add for each cost is not limited. So you can, for example, add 3, 4, 5 documents that are proof of the cost that you have done, like invoices, tickets, boarding passes, and other documentation that is asked by VBF and relevant for the specific cost. So we go here where the icon is red. We have two options: associate a cost with a document, meaning that you have already uploaded some document into the system that is related to multiple costs, for example, some invoice. Then you select this document from the drop-down menu, and this document is associated with this specific cost. Also, if you need some document that it's not already uploaded into the system, you can add a new document. So you click here. You write here, this is the text project. You select the date when this document is created. You can even add a new category, for example, other, save, and you link this document with the document type other. You select activity, you select period all, you select supplier Wizz Air, and I want to stress that it's very important to provide access to this document to the persons that are added to your project in order they to be available to see these documents. And this provides additional level of limitation of access, meaning that if you, for example, want that Anna and Nicola see some specific document, you can add them to the system. But if this is some specific document that is not relevant for Elena or you don't want to see it, you don't add it to this group of persons that have access to this document. So you choose the document now. We select any document. We upload it. We see that it's uploaded and we click save. So this document is related to this we see that there is one document that is associated with this cost, and there is another document that we have uploaded to system, and both of these documents are relevant as proof for the specific cost. So this is how you add cost to the system. How you add documents to the system is the same method as when we uploaded the document for the cost. For example, you want to add some agenda, you write the name of the agenda and other information. Again, you uploaded this document and click save. And the documents are available here in the system, and you can search for example, documents for specific activity, or document some specific type of document. So if you need, for example, some contract or some invoice or other type of document, you don't have to scroll. Even you can write some name of the document, for example, bank. So you don't need even to use this drop down menus. You directly write some text here, and the document will be searched into and provided into the system. So we go back after explaining the expenses and the documents, we go back to the budget. So I can show you how to create the new budget version, the one that is revised and approved as final version by VBF. We click here on new budget version, name of version 1, click save. And the new budget version is available in the system. So we see the approved budget that is frozen, you cannot make any changes, and the revised budget version that you can make changes in it. So we see the budget here. And for example, if we see that we don't need, we have agreed with VBF that international travel is no needed to be so expensive, then we select other quantity, and total amount is automatically calculated. We write how much is covered by VBF and how much is covered by the grantees, automatically calculated. We click save, and the change is done into the system. If you don't need, for example, a rent of premises, you click here and you delete this budget item. So when you transfer all the final version of the budget into the system, then you click send for approval. The same thing you do if during the project implementation you need some sum of money to be relocated from one activity to another activity, or from one budget item to another budget item. You again create a new budget version, you put the title according to your agreement with VBF, and then you click send for approval. Here you download first note to file template. You choose here, upload it to the system, and click send. So the request for approving the budget is pending. Now the status is changed, and I will be waiting for my colleague to approve this change. You will be waiting for VBF to approve this change to compare the previous budget version and the new requested budget version. You can also do the same in the budget compare section. Here with the red are marked the budget items that have some changes. And you can see what is the previous version and what is the actual version of the budget. Regarding the financial reports and the narrative reports, first we go to financial reports. We have the budget as it is, the last version of the budget available here in a tree form, and in a form of Gantt chart or timeline, you have it available here. So the red means how much of the budget for this budget item is spent, and the green means how much is remaining. In a case you're working with units, with quantities, then also on the left side you can see how many quantities have been left to be spent by you. There is the visual preview and there is the tabular preview. We click search, And we have all this data not in a Gantt chart, but we have it as a simple table with notes on some of the budget items if you have already added some notes into the system. We can make an export of this budget or of this financial report, or we can click send for approval, meaning that anymore the reports are not sent via email or uploaded on some storage, but and you don't have to export them normally in Excel. Meaning that if you're sure that you want to have approval of the final report by VBF, taking consideration these 30 days from the, minus the project end date, you click here, send for approval. Are you sure you want your financial report to be sent for approval? You click yes. And we have the status pending approval for the financial report. So when the financial report will be approved, then the status will be changed in green, approved. Then we go to narrative report. We have a list of the narrative reports, and we see that it's in process, meaning that the writing of the narrative report has started. The template for narrative report is already implemented into the system, meaning that you don't have to wait that BBF sends you an email, some Word document, or to download it from somewhere, but you simply go to the narrative report and you starting filling in. We go here for overall results and sustainability. We will just write something to show you how to fill in everything. So we see that initially it was marked that is on non-complete with minus, and now as we fill in the questions, this section is marked with complete with this green sign. Then we do the same with all the sections. I will write just simple things in order to have all the sections approved. I think that this question is not answered. Yes, I'll just write some text here. Yes, no. You select what answer is relevant for you. Lessons learned, you write again. So everything is automatically saved into the system. So if you go back, you will see that everything that you have written is filled in. If you feel more sure to click on the save button, then click on the save button. If not, everything is already saved into the system. And when you feel ready to submit the narrative report, you go here in the final section, date and attestation. You write the date that you are going to submit the narrative report. And then you click send for approval. Are you sure? Yes. And if you go here in narrative report, you have the status submitted. There are possibilities that this report will be, so if you go back here, you see that the narrative report is frozen, meaning that you cannot make any changes here. And if for some it remains frozen, if normally the narrative report is approved, here we have the approved. If we click again, we see that everything is saved, and you cannot change everything. If for some reason the narrative report is returned to you to make changes, then the status changes and you can go inside and make some changes. We see now that also the financial report has been approved. We have approved financial report. And if we go here into the budget, we have that this revised budget version has been approved, and you can start adding costs and so on. Again, you can compare budget, or for some reason, if you need to ask for budget change to reallocate some money, you click on new budget version, and again, the procedure is the same. I want to stress that while you're sending your, if you have sent your budget for approval, you can add costs and documents, but you cannot modify the costs that have already been added as expenses.